Alexander Texier playing in the middle. Some guys make a quick adjustment to that, but for a lot of guys, it's a challenge. Where do you see him with this process right now? How comfortable are you with him in all zones at that position? And where's he impressed you? Where's the improvement need to come from?
Well, where he has impressed me is that he has probably been our most consistent player as far as the emotion and the effort in the game. So he's been very impressive. So that's why he makes mistakes. There are some mistakes we have to live through and teach. But I'm putting him back on the ice because I think he's that important to us as far as an energy guy and how he plays. So I'm really happy how he's come about it. He makes some pretty big mistakes, but that's part of our job is to try to chip those out. It's a game of mistakes, so we're not worried about that. We're just worried about what his effort is, and he's been probably our hardest working guy.
Yeah, when you say mistakes, I just assume that means defensive zone and coverages, not that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but not all zones. The offensive, even in the offensive zone, diving in when he should probably be just picking up, away from the puck. I think the poise of the game and the poise with his hands, even when he has the puck, is going to develop. He's just a bundle of energy out there. But I mean, it's been so important for us and how he does play that way. Eventually, he's going to gain some experience and he's going to end up with more poise in certain situations where maybe less is more. But those are things he's going to learn. So we're not worried about the mistakes. We're very happy about how he goes about his business playing.
In terms of matching him up with top centers defensively, is that something you give him a little bit of a taste with and see how it goes, or is that something you just have to expose him to shift after shift and see how he survives?
We've been pretty much doing it. I mean, he played against Barkov most of those two games and does some really good things, and but there are some breakdowns, and same thing with Max. We have to teach Jack the same thing. Jack's at center. All three centers, quite honestly, three of our top centers. I shouldn't say top centers because Mikko's given us some good minutes, but the three younger guys in the middle, there's going to be mistakes made. They have to learn. Max has to learn. I think he made a great turnaround from a couple of games ago to where non-existent defensively to, being shown some of the things, some of the mistakes he's made and watched him apply it right away that next game. Jack had some major breakdowns in that Chicago game because Kaner's playing 27 minutes. You can't get a match all the time. He was out there against Kaner and there were some breakdowns. And but as long as they're willing to learn, we're willing to coach them and go about our business that way with all three of them.
Thank you.
Next, we go to Brian Hedger. Go ahead, Hedge.
Building on that thought, how nice is it, to have a guy like Mikko here, with all the experience that he has, playing center at that position with those, especially with those other three guys. It seems like they're all willing to, kind of take, whatever they can get from him as well.
Yeah, the three young centers are very coachable, and Mikko's going to be, I believe, a mentor to them as far as, Mikko's still trying to figure out our coverages too, how we play defense. And, but he's going to be, he'll be an extension of the staff in helping us because we're young in the middle. Other than Mikko, we're very young there and in a very important position away from the puck, very important position for a team to compete and try to win. So as I've said right along, every time you ask me about Mikko, he's going to be an extension of us, of a coaching staff with his experience that he can bring, and he'll help us teach.
Yeah, I don't know. This may change, may not. Who knows? When Line 8 gets in there. But you mentioned this the other night that you guys you did ice time. It's pretty much even between the four lines. It feels like, Have you learned? I mean, that's a little different than some past years when you had a Panarin and those kind of things. What are some of the advantages, I guess, when you're in a season like this and you're just rolling those four lines like that?
Yeah, it's the how the games are scheduled, and the amount of time, or the little time that you do have to practice, and the games bunched at certain times in the schedule. Again, I don't. As we've gone through here, we really haven't filled the net with goals, and I'm not sure which line is the top line when we go into it. I'll put them on the board, and then I'll see how the game's played, and I'll act accordingly as far as where the ice time is. But I've been like that Chicago game. I was rolling four lines. I didn't care who Chicago was putting out there. I was rolling four lines, and towards the end of the game, when we're protecting the lead, I'm looking when Kane's going to come on the ice. He's the most dangerous player there. Then I'm looking at certain situations, but through most of the game, I rolled the lines.
Next, we go to Dave Metzel. Go ahead, Metzi.
Torts, I'm just wondering over the last couple of games what your impression has been of creating scoring opportunities. I know that was a bit of an issue early. Has it improved for you?
Yeah, up and down. Still inconsistent. Yeah, so we gotta, but the biggest thing for us to our games have been up and down. How we've played in the game, we've played a real good one, played a real bad one. I wasn't thrilled the way we played in the first Chicago game. I think we need to be better. But the biggest thing for me is, I know you guys want to talk offense, and I brought the subject up at the beginning of the year that we need to win games in a different road. But first thing we got to do is just keep gaining traction and trying to find a way to play more consistent as a team, and then the offense stuff will come after that.
You had a little bit heavier game 2 games ago, and then a lot of blocked shots the other night. Those are part of your personality, though, right? I mean, does that help create things on the other end?
Yeah, that's the sell to the team is we can't forget who we are, how we defend, how we handle the neutral zone, and the blue paint and all the stuff we talk about as far as our identity, and then the offense will come off of that. And we've gone through games where we've given up a ton of odd man rushes because we've just gotten a little crazy as far as trying to develop offense, and then we've settled in and really been stingy. And in the stingy games, we've created more offense. So we just got to try to keep some traction to be more of a consistent playing team.
Thanks, John.
Next, we'll go to Mark Scheig. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Todd. John, going back to Friday night, the first period, your team had 3 shots on goal. How much of a talking point has the starts of games been in trying to prepare for tonight?
Well, we had 3. I think they had 4. I mean, that's just the way the first period was played. But I do think the games for you to gain energy, I think the starts of game are very important, and where you can see through the league. I was looking at some of the games in the first period of last night's games, teams with 4 or 5 shots, and just the lack of energy. I think you need something good to happen for you to gain energy to play the game. And we're certainly always looking to try to get a good start.
And any lineup changes tonight, John?
Only the goalie.
Next, we'll go to Aaron Portzline. Go ahead, Porty.
Hey, John, you've mentioned this several times. The players have too, how hard it is without fans in the building to create energy. Have you come up with something before a game, before they go out, to address that, to find a new way to create that? Any tricks you've used?
No, I'm not sure. I do a dance, a jingle, or I'm not sure what to do. I think it's upon us as professionals to try to play as hard as we can. I will give you this, Portsy, that we have coaches have talked about how we're going to coach them in between the games and all that, and where you worry about just draining the fun out of the game, because it just looks like sometimes the game isn't fun. And I think we need to address that in between games, and we need to touch upon things that we need to go over, but we also want to have some fun here too, because I think that's the hardest thing of a drain on an athlete is they're performers and they want to be in front of people and play and enjoy the excitement, the momentum going against you, the high of ramping it up for 8 or 10 minutes in the period and the building alive. None of those momentum swings happen. And I think we need to be honest about that. We need to be cognizant of that and not drain them even more by grinding in practices. We're looking to get some drills in to have some fun, but also do some teaching within a day. So those are the things we're thinking about. And again, I'm not trying to be sarcastic with your question. It's a good question, but I just don't know what to do before a game. You just got to be ready to play and get things to go your way right away within the game and gain momentum that way.
You mentioned Texier. Have you seen other guys that have been sort of good at creating their own energy, and perhaps some guys who have struggled with finding something to feed off of with the crowd?
Oh yeah, both ways. Guys that have done it the proper way, guys that I can see are struggling. And I'm not going to name them because it just doesn't do any good. But and the guys know, and they know it when you talk to them, they know it. But it's difficult when you're used to, in professional sport, the juice of a building, and it's just totally gone. And this is, again, I've said, this is different than the bubble too. It's totally different than the bubble, for me anyway, as far as the stakes and everything that guys know it, and it's up for them. They're trying to figure it out, and we just want to try to help them.
I figured that may have hit home at the United Center the other night, just because that's usually such a place where it's just electric.
I told the coaches after the first period, we were talking in the room. I said, this is probably the biggest drop off that we've experienced so far as the atmosphere, because and you go in there and as a away team and the anthem and everything, it's such a great building. I think it almost benefits the away team more to have nothing other than a couple of sticks banged on the ice after the anthem, and you can hear it echo through the building. It's a letdown, and I want to make sure I'm not trying to. It's not the athletes. Maybe the athletes are a little spoiled with the juice. We're pros. We have to figure out a way to do it, but you just can't turn it on and say, okay, I'm going to do it. It's hard. It's hard, and I think all teams are going through it.
Thank you.
A couple more. We'll go to Brian Hedger. Go ahead, Hedge.
Yeah, John, in that game on Friday, and you mentioned this earlier with Kane playing so much, when did you start realizing that he was going out there pretty much every other shift? And were you surprised when you look at the final stat sheet and saw that he played 27-14 in a regulation game?
No, because they've been doing it. They've been doing it with them. They did it the prior game, and they've had some injuries and some protocol. I knew exactly when he was going out, and for the a little bit of the game, I was playing Texas line against him, but then he started throwing him on different lines and different spots, and it got to the point where we weren't generating anything. I was worried about my team and getting into a flow. So we're aware of Patrick. We're aware of how he comes in the weak side, gets lost, and like it happened twice in the last 5 minutes of the third period, where he just gets lost, and he's very good at that. If there's one thing we do, we don't talk about the other team much, but against Chicago, we always talk about Kaner, about some of the situations, how long he stays on the ice. That'll be two lines playing against him if I'm matching, and him picking up the puck early on the entries, trying to enter our zone, carrying the puck. We look to try to take him out of the play. All those things are talked about because I think he deserves that respect. He's that dangerous.
Are those things that even maybe during the game, if they're putting him on a different line that he's usually not in there, that you guys just feel the need to be like, hey, he's out there with this line?
We're always aware. Yeah, we're always aware, and I put him out in the last. I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes left, and Jack's still learning the center ice position and coverages, and I was trying to keep him away. Neutral zone face-off. I didn't think they were going to put Kaner out there. I put Jack's line out there, and bang, here comes Kaner, and he gets 2 scoring chances on that shift. But those are the things when you're the away team. You got to put your guys out there, and I'm sure the coach sees that there's a young center and hasn't played there that much, said, I'm going to go with Kaner here, and ends up with 2 good scoring chances. So those are the things we're always aware of and trying to defend against, but sometimes you just got to play.